Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
All right, so
did you forget what you were gonna say?
A little bit, yeah. So today's video is obsessive heroes, right? We've got all heroes, not heroines.
Yeah.
They're all obsessive heroes. It is October and it is spooky season, and this is creepy and spooky when they get to be too obsessive. So we thought we'd give you guys some more obsessive heroes. So let's do that.
For the fall reads.
It is perfect for the fall reads. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway. Our next level is 750. And Mandy, what happens then?
You could win 9 minutes signed copy by Beth Flynn. This is an absolutely amazing book. We're so excited that Beth sent this to us so we could give this away on our channel. So thank you, Beth. And our man Grizz here definitely fits the obsessive, possessive vibes.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And you can learn more about him in our Captor Captive video.
Yes. When that comes out.
It's already out.
Oh, I don't know. You have the schedule in front of you. I don't. So I just go with the flow here.
So yeah, so hit that subscribe button, follow us on Instagram so you could win a copy of that.
Yep, signed copy. Yay. Okay. Obsessive heroes.
Dun, dun, dun. I don't know why I keep doing that. It's really obnoxious. I'm gonna get comments. Could she please stop?
Can Mandy stop with the dun dun dun? Okay, so we each have 5. And we did have an obsessive possessive video that we put out not too long ago. These guys, though, at least for my 5, these are definitely obsessive heroes. Not they're obsessive, not so much possessive, because this is all obsessive. So this one was a little more narrowed down. What about you?
I would say that I'm looking at my list from last time to this time, and my obsessive possessive heroes have gotten
darker.
A little bit darker.
A lot darker.
Yes, I did. Kova from Elf which he is very possessive.
I know.
He does fit that, but that's like a whole nother feel.
Because I watched the video last night to make sure we didn't overlap with any of our recs, and I was like, oh, some of these are pretty mild. Okay. It's getting dark in here. So, yeah.
Turn off the ring lights.
Yeah, turn off the ring lights. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You go first this time.
I'll go first. So I'm going to start with my lightest dark, but they're all still dark, guys. So definitely check triggers. So my first recommendation, hold on, I'm dropping books left and right here. My first recommendation is a Neva Altai book. I was just telling Mandy, we're in our Neva Altai phase right now, or stage of life. But this is Stolen Touches by Neva Altai. This is the 5th book in her Perfectly Imperfect series. So this is my favorite. This one is Salvatore and Malene. So Malene is the little sister to the heroine in the 2nd book, and she wants to be a nurse. And so she has gone to New York to do an internship at a hospital there to become an RN. And this is not her area. So anybody who goes into New York that is from her mafia, like her city, Salvatore, who is the mafia boss in that city, kind of sends them home in pieces, and the pieces are not attached, so they're dead. And so she's taking a risk being there, but she doesn't really think she's at that much of a risk. People don't really know who she is. So one day, this girl is in labor in the parking lot, and she rushes out to deliver her first baby in the parking lot. And Salvatore is at the hospital, and he sees this girl that rushes out to deliver this baby. And there's something about her. He has no feelings. Like, he doesn't feel emotions, but she brings emotions out in him. So he pretty much becomes obsessed with her. And when he discovers that she's from the other city and the other mafia, he arranges for it. Like, she gets a choice, not really, like, she's forced to marry him, or, she could go back in a body bag too. So the marriage is arranged, and he forces her into this marriage because of his obsession. So as far as as far as my heroes go, he's probably the most mild one on this list, but he is definitely not mild. So I love it. I love it when the heroes like have like when they don't feel emotion. But yes, she makes him feel emotion. So
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So my first book, I'm just going to start right there with Dark and Twisted, is Empathy by Kerr Dukey. I hope I'm saying that last name. It's Duke with a Y. So wouldn't that be Dukey?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I say it Dookie. I say Care Dookie, but I don't know if it's Care or Kerr.
Oh, I said Kerr. You're saying Care. Okay.
And I could be wrong, but it's one or the other.
So this is a trilogy, but there is a novella in the middle. So technically 4 books if you wanted to read them all. Just want to put that out there before you start. So I hate when I start a book and don't realize it's a trilogy, but they're all out, so you don't have to panic. So this is about Melody, Blake, and Ryan. And Blake is a detective, but he's also a contract killer. And he also stalks Melody a lot, like a lot. This is very dark. It's very twisted. There's detailed murder on page that happens in this book. So definitely very dark. I can't tell you really much more than what I already told you, or I spoil way too much for you. So it is twisted. It's dark. There's stalking. He is very, very obsessed. But Blake is not the good guy that we want to think he is. And Melody is just trying to go to college.
I have one of those. My heroine in my next book was just trying to go to college.
Yeah.
And then gets a stalker.
There's so many twists in the first book though that it's like really hard to like tell you what's happening. So
yeah. Okay, so then in my next book, it is The Pucking Wrong Number, and you've read this one.
Yes.
So yeah, this is by
she is just trying to go to college too.
She's just trying to go to college. So this is by C.R. James. So this is about Lincoln. He is he's in the NHL. He is a hockey player, and he is being set up on dates by his family, and he doesn't want to do it. And he these are like socialites and girls that he just really doesn't want to have anything to do with. And so one night, after he stands somebody up, he actually sends them a text, and he texts the wrong number, and he gets Monroe. So Monroe is just a struggling college student. She's working, she's going to college. She was a foster child, and so she's kind of on her own. She's making her way on her own, and he loves like the text exchange between the two of them is what really gets his interest, because she's different. She's not one of these stuffy socialite girls who, you know, only cares about, you know, her appearance and nothing on the inside. And he can tell there's something different about her. So then he becomes obsessed with her, and he starts to stalk her. And he does things that are horrible, but he does them to get her to rely on him and to trust him and to need his assistance and his help. And yeah, he's a little on the nutso side, but you know, it's okay. It is okay, because it works out.
He was trying to make her life better, and she was very ungrateful.
Oh, yeah, getting her fired from her job. Trying to make her life better so that she depended on him.
She was so good. Have time to study.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I really enjoyed this one. He's crazy. I'll get out. The newest one just came out as well. The second book in the series. And I'm waiting till after we go to Vegas to read it, because we'll meet CR Jane in Vegas.
Yes.
At the end of this month. Yay!
I'm very excited.
Me too. So, okay, what do you got next?
Wrong way. My next book is Until I Get You by Claire Contreras. This is about Lachlan and Lila. And Lachlan is like this hockey god at college. But there is very, very, very little hockey on page. So this is not like a hockey romance. It's more or less just described that he plays hockey so that we understand that, like, oh, he's so important. Everybody loves him. And he meets Lila, who's very, very reserved and dresses like so that she doesn't bring attention to herself, and just really like is trying to she's honestly trying to get through college because she has a very, very dangerous stalker, like very dangerous stalker. And so she's trying to just like very low and finish college and get the heck out of there. And when they meet, she tries to keep Lachlan, like, at arm's length because she's afraid of the repercussions from the stalker. And they end up having like this connection, and Lila freaks out and leaves, and without an explanation, and she just takes off. And then we go 3 years later, and Lachlan is finding her, and he is out for revenge. He is not happy that she disappeared from his life at all.
But it's good.
Very good.
Good.
Very good.
Yes. Very good. Okay. So my next book is, for me, it's like total Halloween vibes because it's a retelling. So this is Phantom by Greer Rivers, and this is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. And so it's a modern day Phantom of the Opera retelling. That is a mouthful. So this is about Saul or Solomon and Scarlett. So the year before the book starts, Scarlett loses her father, and she goes into a manic state. She doesn't realize that she is bipolar. She gets diagnosed after this manic state happens. This takes place in New Orleans. So she's on Bourbon Street and some stuff happens. She gets put into a psych ward for a while. But she is an opera singer, or she's going to school to be an opera singer, and she lives in these dorms. The opera house is attached. It's all one thing. And so now we're a year later. She's trying to get her meds regulated. She's seeing a doctor. She's seeing a psychologist. But she's been hearing music, and she's getting notes, and she's getting roses left behind from her. I think she called them her demon of music. And so she's questioning whether she's losing it or not. Like, is she losing it again? Is she going into another manic state? And like things are happening, like her medicine goes missing one day, and like very questionable things are happening around her. And then you have Saul, who is our Phantom of the Opera. And he is a part of a crime family that runs New Orleans. And he is scarred because he was stolen. It was abducted by the other rival family when he was young, and he was scarred. And he lives in the basement of this school. And so it's all dark down there. He's remodeled it. It's gorgeous, but she is his muse, and he is obsessed with her and her singing. If anybody talks to her the wrong way, like they're in deep trouble, like they're in like deep trouble kind of a situation. But he becomes obsessed with her, and does whatever he can to keep her. So, definitely for me, it's fall and Halloween-y feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you like Phantom of the Opera, you'd probably like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
next,
I'm going MC now.
Okay.
Possessive with Stone by S. Nelson. Loved this whole series. All the guys in this could probably be described as obsessive possessive, but Stone holds a special place because he's very possessive. So this is about Addie, who's a nurse, and she loves her job, and her uncle belongs to the Knights Corruption MC Club that Stone also belongs to. Her uncle wants her to have nothing to do with the club or its members or anything like that. So he tries to keep those lives separate. But she's a nurse, and sometimes the guys need a medical attention that they don't want to go to the hospital for because they don't want to bring light on things like when people get stabbed or shot. So she ends up coming to the compound quite frequently to like patch people up. And this is how she meets Stone. And Stone falls for her pretty hard, but it's been made very clear that Addie is off limits by her uncle. He does not want her involved with any of the guys there. So that kind of throws this thing in there. But Stone and Addie are still very much a thing kind of on the side. Like they are very attracted to each other. So The reason I picked him is because of this quote from the book. I absolutely, this is funny. So the book said, Addie says, he would go all Neanderthal. He might even start pounding his chest and pee on me to mark his territory.
Mhm.
So if that's not an obsessive possessive guy, I don't know what would be.
Mhm.
But their relationship is very complicated because she's not supposed to be having anything to do with the MC, and Stone really respects her uncle, so he doesn't want to go against her uncle's wishes, but he has feelings for Addie.
What's a guy to do?
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. Well, my next book, the obsession is not healthy. I mean, obsession is never healthy. Let's be honest here. But this one, he's not obsessed with her because he wants her, but he does. Let me explain. Okay, so this is Driving My Obsession by Lauren Beale. This is her latest release in her hitchhiking series. They can all be read as standalones, but this one is about Ambrose and Oakland. And Oakland was a ballerina, and she was injured 6 months before the book starts, and she has like a plate and some pins and stuff in her ankle, and so she can no longer be a ballerina, be on stage how she wants to be on stage. And so she has resorted to stripping. She's trying to raise money, or like trying to save enough money to get a vehicle, and then she has this goal that we find out about later in life, like, or later in the book, what her ultimate goal is. And she doesn't plan to do it very long, but she's doing it. And then you have Ambrose, and he was horrifically scarred all over his body as an infant, as a child, very, very young, a few months old. And he wants revenge on the person that hurt him. But the person who hurt him is no longer in this world. And that person, so he's a bare knuckle boxer, by the way. But that person used to work at this strip club. And that person was a stripper. And so he has this obsession with killing somebody to make amends for what happened to him. And one night, Oakland is trying to get home, and she doesn't have a vehicle, and the bus has left her, and she's hitchhiking, and he picks her up. And this starts their relationship. So he stalks her to try to break her, basically. But his end goal is to kill her. So how? And if you've read this, you know that there's things with acorns because she's Oakland, like oak. So he leaves acorns everywhere, and there's a situation where he puts an acorn somewhere very special. We'll say that. But he's dark, and he has to come to terms with how he feels about her. So. Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could have just titled this Neva Altai's books.
Is this your last one?
No, I have 2 more. Right?
Yeah, because I went first. Yes.
Stop trying to confuse me.
Obviously, I'm the one that's confused.
Okay. So my next book is called Broken Whispers by Neva Altai. And this is about Bianca and Mikhail.
Mikhail.
I tried to listen to the pronunciation of it too, and I still botched it. Okay, so Mikhail is the butcher of the mafia. Okay. And he is literally obsessed with this ballerina, and he goes and watches her perform all the time. Which I just picture, he has an eye patch. He's described as being somebody that, like, if you're seeing him walk down the street, you might cross to the other side. Like, he's described as the enforcer, very intense looking, very intimidating. But yet he goes and watches her ballet all the time. She doesn't know this, has no clue. And he he just sees her on a poster and like becomes obsessed with her. And so he does this for a while. And then Roman, the head of their mafia, is trying to find someone to marry her because he wants to solidify some bonds, because that's what we do in the mafia. And he holds out the picture and is like passing it around, trying to see which guy would be interested in marrying her. And Mikhail is like, me, done, doing it. And Bianca is stuck in this situation because her dad is wanting this alliance. And so he's just marrying her off. So she has no choice in this. And she is recently, it's really not 100% explained. Like she has some sort of injury, so she can't continue dancing as she has. So her ballet career is over. But there's nothing like dramatic that happens. Like she's already accepted this when all of this is happening, that ballet is over because of whatever has happened to her. And so this is their story. I really loved it. I love her writing. And I loved that he was already like obsessed with her and like was going and watching her ballet performances for a very long time. And then when he like has the chance to marry her, he's like, I'm in, I'll do it.
Well, the thing is with him, he doesn't like to be touched. He does not like physical touch.
No.
And I think her injury is just from years of being a ballerina and how hard that is on your body. Because I don't think it was ever explained why she was hurt.
Yeah, it's nothing like dramatic in the book. And so it's like already like that chapter's already closing for her when she is told she has to marry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good. Okay. So for my last rec, I have.
What is it?
Fear Me, Love Me by Lilith Vincent.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I read this a couple weeks ago. I've talked about it a couple of times. I'm not going to continue to shove it down everybody's throats, but I'm telling you, this is so good. So this is very, very dark, and it is based on, or at least our hero, he's kind of molded after Jareth in The Labyrinth. And so there are elements of The Labyrinth in this book. So if you like that movie kind of creeped me out when I was a kid, but if you like that movie, you're going to love this book. So this is about Tyrant and Vivienne. And so this book takes place where it's present time, then we go to the past, and then we go to the present again. So we know when this book starts out, we're told that in the past that I want to call him Jareth, that Tyrant had abducted Vivienne's 6-month-old brother because her dad owed them money. Now, Vivienne is a college student, so she's older, but and this is her dad's second marriage. Her mom's not in the picture. And so she goes to Tyrant's estate to try to save her little brother. And things that happen cause him to become obsessed with her. And he wants to keep her. He wants her to be his wife. He wants her to have his babies. He's obsessed with making her pregnant, by the way, in this book. And can you hear the train? There's a train outside. But he becomes absolutely obsessed with her and keeping her and getting her pregnant. And he wants to keep the baby brother too. But this is so good, and it's twisted. There is a labyrinth in it, and on his estate, and it just takes place in Washington, so it's dreary, and it's just, I can't tell you much more because it gives things away. I know somebody said in one of my reading groups, they're like, did I miss something? Because the book just kind of starts, like it just goes into it and you don't get the backstory. And there were people saying, you have to just continue reading. So if you feel that way when you get into it, it's because of the way the book is written, but you have to just continue to read it and then it'll make sense. So just keep at it.
So my next book is another Neva Altai book because
she's the mom.
Who writes obsessive, possessive characters better that you're not like instantly in love with, where you're like, oh my gosh. Some of my other ones, it takes a while to get there. And then I'm still like, don't know how I feel about him.
And I think too with Neva, it's like her books are dark, but because the way she writes, they don't feel dark. They have dark elements. They just don't feel as dark.
Yes. And you feel right there.
Yes. And they're not very long. I mean, they're a decent length, but you just right into it. It's just, so good.
Yes. So good. I can't wait for her next book to come out.
I know.
All right.
Okay.
So I have Hidden Truths, which is Sergey, and Angelina. This is my problem. I cannot look at how things are written. I have to say it off the top of my head. Okay. Sergey. I love him. He is unhinged.
Yes, he's my favorite unhinged.
He is unhinged completely. And Angelina, father has been killed, and his killer is living in her home in Mexico the cartel down there, and he's taken over for her father and is going to force her to marry him. She is not okay with that and is like going on a self-imposed hunger strike, and her grandma decides to sneak her out with a shipment that is going to Chicago. And so she goes, and Sergei gets on the truck when they get there, and they're gonna, like, I think he's planning some bombs. And he knows that there's supposed to be a girl on there, but he doesn't realize who she's going to be. And he finds her and is just like, he picks her up and he's like, she's mine. And he refuses to take her anywhere else. He takes her home and keeps her, but not in a like
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
keeps her, and he doesn't want her to leave, and so he doesn't really let her leave for a while, and he monitors her very closely.
Out of love. It's all out of love.
This should have gone in our capture cat. I'm just realizing that. I mean, he pretty much like took her off the truck and took her home and didn't want her to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But he's unhinged. Like I said, he's unhinged, but there's something about Angelina where this other side of him comes out where, yes, he's extremely possessive of her, but it's like Jessica said, it's out of love. And it's just this whole other side of him. And I just, oh my gosh, I just love this series so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him. He might be, I could say he's my favorite. And then we could start talking about another book.
I know.
And be like, actually, no, that's my favorite.
Because I'm sitting here going,
like, such good books.
I know, because I'm sitting here telling, like I told you guys earlier in the book, or earlier in the video, that book number 5 is my favorite, which it is. That story is my favorite because I love a hero that can't feel. But Sergei is one of my favorite characters because he is so unhinged, and we see him from book 1 on, and we start hearing him like the weird things, like when he wants to get a tank, you know, and he doesn't understand why it's not okay for him to blow things up. And like he's like grounded in the first couple of books because he blew up too much. And like he is just unhinged, but there's comedy behind it in a way, the way she writes it. And you just want to take him and swaddle him and just, oh, my little boy. Like he's just precious. He's just
Jessica, you have to read, what was it called? The last book.
I know. I
Fractured Souls.
I plan to read it this week while I'm on the
Is that right? Did I get the right one?
No, Fractured Souls is
Burn Dreams.
Burn Dreams. Yeah, I plan to read it this week. That's my hope while we're traveling.
Burn Dreams. So far, I think Burn Dreams is my favorite. I really loved it, but we get to see Sergei in there a little bit more.
Yeah, I love him. I could do a whole nother book on Sergei. He's awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, but all right, guys. So that is what we have for you with Obsessive Heroes. Yay.
So leave us a comment if we're ready for that. Are we ready to do that? Sorry. Okay. Leave us a comment and let us know, what are some of your favorite obsessive possessive heroes in books? Do you like this trope? Have you read any of the books that we've talked about? Are they going on your TBR? Tell us all the book things, and make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.